Chinese President Xi Jinping seems to hate almost everything and everyone. Till now, we knew that he hates his political dissidents, rich entrepreneurs, Uyghur Muslims, and Tibetan Buddhists. Now he has found a new group to hate: effeminate men. The Chinese Communist Party hates so-called sissy pants or little fresh meats. It bullies effeminate men, so much so that an effeminate man has been driven to commit suicide by the CCP propaganda. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Shubhangi, and in this video I will tell you about an effeminate man in China who took his life because the Communist Party of China's masculinity pressure. The Chinese Communist Party has blood on its hands. Its tendency to bully its own citizens has claimed yet another life. Zhou Peng, a 26-year-old man, has committed suicide apparently because he was bullied for not being masculine enough. This shows just how far Xi Jinping's obsession with making Chinese men more masculine goes. Zhou Peng's suicide has sparked discussions about gender norms, even as the Chinese government continues to criticize quote-unquote sissy men. In his apparent 5,000-word suicide note that went viral on the Chinese microblogging site Weibo, Zhou said, "Boys are supposed to be naughty, fight and swear. Boys who are too quiet and polite are effeminate and called sissy." Zhou also mentioned that as a child he was left behind in the countryside by his migrant parents who had moved to a city to work. This also exposes how China's city-centric development model and the one-child policy has created an entire generation of youngsters who spent depressed childhoods deprived of family life. However, it is Zhou's experience of being bullied that created a huge storm on Chinese social media. He wrote, "I might have just looked a bit like a girl when I was younger, but I dressed normally and didn't attempt to imitate girls. Yet I was bullied in school, verbally abused, ostracized, threatened, and called all sorts of insults." One Weibo user commented, "He has a delicate appearance and a seemingly gentle personality. These are all good points, and yet he was bullied just because they are not in line with traditional masculine ideals." The user added, "How many other boys have been laughed at because of their soft look and soft voice? Who are we to dictate what's acceptable or not? They have done nothing wrong." The idea of how men should be strong and tough instead of being soft and delicate exists in all societies. However, the Chinese government actively encourages such ideas. The CCP machinery had started showing disillusionment with quote-unquote effeminate culture years ago. In 2018, Chinese state media Xinhua had published an editorial condemning the portrayal of softer masculinity in the Chinese media and entertainment sector. Xinhua had said that quote-unquote sissy pants or little fresh meats are hurting China's global image. In fact, Xi Jinping blames the rise of quote-unquote effeminate male celebrities in Chinese media and popular culture. The pop culture in China is heavily influenced by the sleek and girlish look of some celebrities from Japan and South Korea, and Xi Jinping thinks that this is a threat to his world domination dreams. The Chinese Communist Party wants China to be represented by really powerful masculine figures on the global stage. It is flexing its economic and military muscle around the world, and thus it feels that it needs to even appear more masculine. In a bid to make Chinese men more masculine, Xi Jinping has already cracked down on effeminate celebrities. Earlier this year, the CCP banned many men from being broadcasted on TV and asked its media to promote a revolutionary culture, broadening a campaign to tighten control over business and society and enforce official morality. Broadcasters have been asked to, and I quote, "resolutely put an end to sissy men and other abnormal aesthetics." This is what the TV regulator said, using an insulting slang term for effeminate men, nyang pao, or literally girly guns. Believe it or not, Xi Jinping thinks that the so-called effeminate men are a threat to Chinese national security. TFI Global had reported in May 2021 about how the Chinese People's Liberation Army is comprised of wimps and sissies. Close to 70% of the Chinese military force consists of a single child with no siblings. As such, they are brought up as pampered little emperors by parents and grandparents, having psychological impacts that growing up alone might have. There is a constant fear among strategic quarters in China that the softness of their force would spell a death knell for the country's expansionist and belligerent ambitions around all of its borders. As such, the one-child policy has created a faulty PLA. But Xi Jinping blames the effeminate culture for its downfall. Also, Xi Jinping's wolf warrior diplomacy demands that China creates a new set of diplomats who can bully other nations, and the CCP believes that it cannot encourage such an aggressive brand of diplomacy if the effeminate culture penetrates the Chinese society. Dr. Jonathan Sullivan, director of China programs at University of Nottingham's Asia Research Institute, said, "When you are creating a feeling of us against the world, getting into fights with countries around the world, aggressively posturing and promoting policies of self-sufficiency, it does not jibe with soft metrosexuality." Be that as it may, it is clear that if you are naturally soft-spoken and delicate, you have no place in Xi Jinping's China, especially if you're a man. Only Xi Jinping's version of strong men can survive in China. And men like Xiaoping are either going to spend a depressing life getting bullied or cut the ordeal short by killing themselves.